So first question, a year has passed since the Dylan Mulvaney and Bud Light sponsorship stirred up the industry. Looking back, what are some of your key takeaways for how brands are defining their vision and audience before entering a partnership deal, whether that's a sponsorship deal or an influencer relationship?
Making sure you identify not only the demographics, but the psychographics of who you're trying to reach is critical. So once you have those outlined, it's important to use any kind of syndicated third-party resource to understand the alignment and overlap of that audience and who you're trying to reach with a specific property or influencer. All right, Jimmy, how does channel strategy play a role when identifying partnerships that hit your target audience?
Yeah, channel strategy is integral to the process because if you think about channel strategy, we're essentially creating access for your brand. And so we want to make sure that the right consumers have the right access in the right places. I also think that consumers are jumping more rapidly between channels and their content consumption habits are much more layered now than they ever have been before. You could be watching something on TV while browsing on your phone, watching highlights on YouTube, and all of those touch points represent an opportunity for a brand to get in touch with their consumer. So a smart channel strategy isn't only going to identify the areas we show up, it's also going to identify the parts of the story that we tell across the different channels to make sure we're extracting the most value. How can brands ensure authenticity in their partnerships to avoid backlash? And what steps can they take to integrate their sponsorship deals more seamlessly into the overall brand experience?
Understanding your consumer is priority 1A. I think shortly thereafter, you have to make sure you focus on a through funnel strategy. So if you're integrating your products and services within the partnership and it's amplifying either the fans experience or the players or have it be the other partners, let's say there's a B2B strategy and you tell that story through the assets within your deal, you're creating the magic within partnership that sometimes doesn't always hit the mark. So it's all about amplifying the experience, integrating the product or service, and then using your entire asset package to tell that story. How do you build a partnership that effectively influences purchase with your target demo, both on and off premise?
At the risk of oversimplifying it, I think a call to action goes a long way. And we can't understate the effectiveness of a strong call to action in these brand experiences. I also think that we have to make sure that the brand's product story and experience is additive to the overall experience of the property and that it's bringing to life a reason for why people come to these places. If we take, for example, beer, spirits, alcohol, one of the things that this group is facing is that younger generations aren't drinking as much and they're not going to bars as much. And so one of the things is that alcohol is no longer the highlight of the destination, but we have to find ways to make sure that it's additive to the platform, to the property, to the story, so that it comes off as authentic in that space. All right, Ash, last question. How do you effectively put together a collegiate sponsorship platform while ensuring the focus is on LDACs, legal drinking age consumers?
Generally speaking, I think it still comes down to making sure there's alignment, not only with the audience you're trying to reach, but more importantly, how they consume their media. So if you're talking to an audience that you know is constantly on their phones of legal drinking age, it's important to maybe identify the other outlets or mediums that are doing that. So maybe NIL and making sure you're going forward with a heavy digital social platform makes a ton of sense. If it's the collegiate landscape and you're looking at a multimedia rights holder like a Learfield or otherwise, it's important that you take into account their impact on alumni. You know, they are the rights holder for that school specifically and not necessarily for the different alumni groups that make up that large legal drinking age consumer audience. So it's important to find the balance between the two. You're utilizing school marks and IP through the rights holder, but you're finding an effective channel to reach alumni. And maybe that's how you balance it out through media and additional, elements of social and digital media buys. So I think the balance of the two is what's critical.
All right, Ash, quick, off the top of your head, pick your favorite, spirit, beer, or wine.
If I had to pick, I think I would choose whiskey. It feels like the perfect nightcap and oftentimes just puts me in the warmest, coziest mood. And yeah, if I had to choose out of the three, it would be spirits and specifically a really good whiskey.
For me, I pick my poison based on the experience that I'm looking for. So if I'm at a ball game, it's a beer. If I'm relaxing on the front porch, it's a it's a glass of bourbon, and if it's a nice dinner, nothing beats that glass of wine.